So let me tell you something, Raider Nation. The last few hours have been one of those moments where you just sit back, look at everything happening around this team, and you realize something big might be unfolding right in front of us. Because in a matter of moments, two completely different decisions came out of Las Vegas. And both of them say a lot about where this franchise is heading. One move involves the defense, a veteran player suddenly changing teams after spending years with a playoff contender. The other move? That one hits the offense. And it's the kind of decision that can completely change the future of a franchise. And when you put these two things together, you start to see a pattern, a strategy, maybe even the beginning of a full reset for the silver and black. But here's the thing. At first glance, these moves might look simple. They're not, because behind them there's frustration from last season, tough financial decisions, roster rebuilding, and a clear message about what the Raiders want to become moving forward. And Raider Nation, if you care about where this team is heading next season, and the years after that, you're going to want to hear this whole story. But before we dive into it real quick, if you're a real Raiders fan who follows this team every single day like I do, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. My name is Victor. This is Raiders Nation Update, and we're trying to reach our first 5,000 subscribers with real Raider fans who live and breathe the silver and black. All right, Raider Nation, now let's talk about the first move. Because this one came out Sunday night, and honestly, it tells us a lot about what the Raiders are trying to fix on this roster. According to NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport, the Raiders reached a trade agreement with the Buffalo Bills to acquire veteran cornerback Taron Johnson, and the details of the deal are actually pretty interesting. Las Vegas is sending an undisclosed 6th-round pick in the 2026 draft to Buffalo. In return, the Raiders received Taron Johnson and an undisclosed 7th-round pick in that same 2026 draft. So basically, the Raiders moved down slightly in the draft, but they add a veteran defensive back right now. And here's another layer to this story. The Bills were actually expected to release Johnson this past Friday. The move was anticipated, but it never became official before the league's transaction wire closed. Instead of losing him for nothing, Buffalo decided to trade him, and the Raiders stepped in. Now, Johnson is heading to Las Vegas at 29 years old with a lot of experience under his belt. This is a guy who has been with the Bills since 2018, when Buffalo drafted him in the 4th round. Over the years, he became one of those plug-and-play defenders in Sean McDermott's system, the type of player who knows how to do his job and fit into multiple coverages. His best season came in 2023. That year, he played all 17 regular season games, helped Buffalo finish with an 11-6 record, and they ended up winning the AFC East. He was a steady presence in that defense the entire year. Now fast forward to 2025, and the season looked a little different for him. Johnson played 11 games, started 8 of them, and recorded 57 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and 4 passes defended. According to Pro Football Focus, he finished the season with an overall grade of 60.5, which ranked 66th out of 114 qualifying cornerbacks. So we're not talking about an elite shutdown corner here, but we are talking about a veteran defensive back who has played meaningful football, understands defensive schemes, and can step into a secondary that clearly needed help. And let's be honest, Raider Nation, the Raiders' defense needed bodies. Last season was rough. The unit struggled badly at times, especially in coverage. And when you combine that with the massive roster shakeup we've already seen, including the trade that sent star pass rusher Max Crosby to the Baltimore Ravens, it became obvious that the front office had to start patching holes somewhere. So bringing in a veteran like Taron Johnson feels like one of those practical moves. Not flashy, not a headline superstar, but a player who can stabilize a position group while the team figures out its long-term plan. And personally, as a Raiders fan, I actually like the logic here. You didn't give up a premium pick. You still keep flexibility in the draft. And you add a defender who has played in a winning culture in Buffalo. Sometimes rebuilding a defense starts exactly like this, one experienced piece at a time. But here's where things start getting really interesting. Because while the Raiders were making moves to add a veteran on defense, they were also making a massive decision on the offensive side of the ball. And Raider Nation, this second move might actually tell us everything about what the Raiders are planning to do with the most important position in football. All right, Raider Nation. Now let's talk about the second move. And honestly, this one might be the decision that really tells us what direction this franchise is going. Because the Raiders officially cut ties with quarterback Geno Smith after just 1 season with the team. Yeah, just 1. The decision happened right before the start of the league's new fiscal year, and according to the reports coming out of the organization, this wasn't just a random move. This was a strategic decision made by the front office to clear the path for something much bigger. The Raiders currently hold the first overall pick in the upcoming NFL draft, and the entire organization is now preparing to use that pick to select the future quarterback of the franchise. When you think about it, Raider Nation, that alone tells you everything about how the front office feels about the last season. Because the year ended with a brutal 3 wins and 14 losses. That record wasn't just disappointing, it was the worst in the league. And a big part of the internal evaluation inside the building focused on the offense, specifically the inconsistency at quarterback. Geno Smith's season numbers tell part of that story. Over the course of 17 games, he threw for 3,025 yards, recorded 19 touchdown passes, but also led the entire league with 17 interceptions. And that last number, that's the one that really hurt this team. Multiple analysts inside the organization reportedly pointed to the high number of turnovers as one of the key reasons the offense struggled to stay consistent throughout the year. There were too many drives ending early, too many possessions given back to opposing teams, and in critical moments of games, risky decisions with the football ended up costing the Raiders wins they badly needed. The coaching staff also had concerns about how the offense functioned within the system installed by the offensive coordinator. Short and intermediate passing accuracy became an issue. Play calling options became limited because defenses started anticipating what the Raiders could and couldn't execute effectively. And when the offense struggles like that, it creates a domino effect across the entire roster. The defense ends up back on the field more often, fatigue sets in, and the entire structure of the team starts breaking down over the course of a 17-week season. That's exactly what happened. So the front office made the call, and financially the move also comes with some complicated consequences. By releasing Geno Smith, the Raiders will free up $8 million in salary cap space. But at the same time, the team will also absorb about $18.5 million in dead money on this season's payroll. Now, for fans who might not follow the salary cap closely, that might sound crazy. But in the NFL, this is actually a very common move during a full rebuild. Teams take the financial hit now so that future seasons become cleaner and more flexible. The Raiders are basically absorbing the pain today so that they can have more cap freedom moving forward, especially when the new quarterback arrives under a rookie contract. And that rookie contract structure is important, because first-round quarterbacks enter the league on controlled salary deals that are significantly cheaper than veteran quarterback contracts. That means the Raiders could use that financial flexibility to improve other parts of the roster: offensive line, secondary, depth across the roster. The front office could even target veteran free agents willing to sign shorter deals, players who could help stabilize the locker room and mentor the young quarterback who's about to arrive. And right now, the scouting department is fully locked in on the upcoming draft class. According to multiple evaluations, this year's group of college quarterbacks is considered very promising by talent evaluators. The Raiders scouts are running an extremely detailed evaluation process. Physical testing, film breakdown, psychological interviews, simulated game situations. They're looking for a quarterback who checks very specific boxes: mobility inside the pocket, accuracy on deep throws, and the ability to operate a modern NFL offense. And here's the thing, Raider Nation. When you hold the first overall pick, you control the entire board. The Raiders technically could trade that pick if another team offers multiple future first-round selections. But right now, the belief inside the organization is that they will most likely keep the pick and select their quarterback of the future. At the same time, the coaching staff is also adjusting its offensive philosophy. The goal moving forward is to create a system that protects a young quarterback. That means quicker passing concepts, a stronger running game, and an offensive structure that reduces high-risk plays while the rookie develops. Training schedules, off-season programs, and even the playbook are expected to be adjusted to make that transition smoother. Because the reality is simple: the Raiders play in one of the toughest divisions in the AFC. To compete in the AFC West, you need elite quarterback play. That's the standard now, and the Raiders know it. So when you look at this decision to move on from Geno Smith, it's not just about last season's numbers. It's about resetting the entire direction of the franchise. It's about building a team that can compete again. And Raider Nation, when you combine this with the other moves we just talked about, you start to see a bigger picture forming. Because on one side, the Raiders are quietly reinforcing parts of the defense. On the other side, they are completely resetting the most important position in football. And when you put those two things together, it tells us something very clear about where this franchise stands right now. The Raiders are entering a defining moment, one where short-term pain might finally lead to long-term stability. But like every rebuild in the NFL, everything now depends on one decision: who that next quarterback will be, and whether the Raiders finally get it right. Now, Raider Nation, I want to hear from you. Do you think moving on from Geno Smith was the right move? And do you trust the Raiders to make the right decision with the first overall pick? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I read every single one. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video. This channel, Raiders Nation Update, is still brand new, and the goal right now is to reach our first 5,000 subscribers with real fans of the silver and black. So if you're the kind of Raiders fan who likes honest opinions, real conversations, and daily updates about this team, go ahead and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video, Raider Nation.